Okay, this is the fastest update to a Glydon skip tutorial that you'll ever get, but I wanted to give some more information here because my previous one was a little bit incomplete. So, first things first, this is a skip that allows you to get past the last two sections of Darker Side that are really, really challenging. There's a Pokio section in the pipe, 1 second, right here. It lets you get past this, and it lets you get past this Bowser painting. So it's really convenient, saves a lot of time, very important for Darker speedruns in terms of consistency and speed. So, highly recommended that everybody learns it. So, how does the skip work? Main thing to mention first is that Glydon has a mechanic when you shake that will allow him to maintain height a little bit better. So I'm going to unpause the game and just hold the B button. And when I do that, I'm going to slowly decrease in height as I fly with Glydon. Slowly decreasing in height. Now, we'll watch what happens when I shake. When I shake, I maintain around the same height a lot more consistent. And this is the key to this trick. It allows you to maintain enough height to get all the way over to the ending pylon that takes you to the end of the kingdom. So, next thing that's really important to mention with this trick is it's very, very important to stay far enough to the left when you're doing this whole thing. So, right here, you'll see that I'm flying with Glydon pretty far away from the painting, because if you get too close, I'm about to show, like imagine like a box that goes like right around here where the Glydon is. Stay way outside of the lava range and just stay far away from the painting, because if you go too close, you will automatically uncapture Glydon and then you'll just die or have to do some really scuffed stave and lose a lot of time. So stay far away from the painting, go way farther left than you might think, and stay there. What I'd recommend for this, I'd watch this tutorial, see how far left I go, try to replicate that, or further away. Same idea, watch top runners, how they do it, see how far left they go. Get a sense for where the uncapture box isn't and stay in that range. But very, very big time loss that you don't want to take, and cutting the line a little bit more leniently is not worth the time loss of dying at the very end of Darker. So, let's fly into that box. Not in the box, not in the box, in the box right around here. So, don't do that. TLDR, don't do that. So, next thing we need to discuss is the mechanics behind these little wind pillars here. So, the crux of these guys is when you enter a wind pillar with Glydon and shake, you gain a lot of height. So when I enter this wind pillar with Glydon, I'm going to shake the controller really hard and gain a lot of height with the critter. So there's a few mechanics to this. You will gain height for the entire time you're in the wind pillar, but when you exit the wind pillar, you'll stop increasing in height. So let me pull up my little MS Paint drawing here. So you're flying with Glydon, my amazing drawing skills. You're flying with Glydon, flying with Glydon, you're flying with Glydon. You hit the pillar right around here. You fly up, you exit the top, you're golden. If you go lower, you fly with Glydon, fly with Glydon, fly with Glydon. You go up, then you're still flying forward with Glydon, so you exit like right here, and you still get a good boost, but you get a lot less height. You don't quite pass the urban sting bees. So, the place that everybody aims for Darker Side is that you go right for the middle of the wind pillar, you go in, you clear the top, you get a good bit of height, and you fly above the urban sting bees, up and away. All is right with the world. So, for Darker Side, aim for the middle, whoop, fly up. For all moons, you typically want to get a little bit more height for a strat I'll mention later. Aim for about a third of the way through and you'll be a-okay, and I'll mention a setup for both of those things later on in the video. Okay, so now watch what happens in the game when I uncapture Glydon and shake while I fly through the wind pillar. Well, that's a terrible example, but I'll do it again here. It's kind of hard because I just unpaused. Boom, lots of height. And I'm going to make it all the way over to the painting platform with this amount of height. So I'm actually going to go back because it'll be a little bit more convenient to demonstrate from the beginning. So next thing a lot of people don't know is how much height do you actually need when you go through the wind pillar. So we're going to start flying. I'm not going to shake at all. This will be a setup to get me at about the halfway mark through here. Shake. Right now I'm a decent bit above the sting bees. So look where Glydon is relative to the sting bees, he's pretty far above them. As long as you're approximately at the level of the sting bees, you are going to have enough height. So I'm actually going to fly down a little bit just for demonstration purposes and show you that this still works. So not shaking, not shaking, not shaking, not shaking, not shaking, not shaking. I'm going to start shaking here, and I'm right around all of these guys. And this should be enough height to make it. This is a good time in the video where I'm not really doing anything. I'll chill a little bit. I'm trying to make more of these tutorials. I want to be a little bit helpful. Lots of people have a lot of sort of knowledge in this community, and I want to encourage people to share it a little bit more and share my own knowledge. So if you have any questions or any tutorials you want, let me know. And I'm flying around the box, and I'm able to capture the pylon no problem. So very easy. Another quick thing to note, I typically start curving in right at about the halfway point through this pillar, and I'll show you when I decide to start turning in a little bit later. So we're back over here. So to summarize so far, basically all that you want to do, you want to capture Glydon, jump, hold B, don't shake. Angle your camera down, shake right when you see yourself enter the wind pillar. You get a ton of height, and this is plenty high enough to make it to the end. Very simple trick, requires some practice, but you should be able to get it with a few tries. So, next thing I want to mention is the all moon setup for this. So, it's really important for all moons to be able to get enough height to make it to the very top of the painting pillar, the painting platform. There's a stack of coins up there that's important to grab. Can save a lot of time at the end of your run if you get enough height. So, the setup for this is you're going to do the same sort of jump here, and we're going to unpress B and press it again really quickly 3 times. That'll let us enter the wind gust at around the 1/3 range that I mentioned earlier and get us the maximum amount of height going into the actual trick. So we'll do it again right here. 2, 3. Angle the camera down. Shake really hard. Ooh, honestly, this might not be enough height. But that's the general setup and what I'm going to go for. I'm actually going to go for it again. This isn't a 100% consistent thing, and I don't think I quite got enough height, so I'm going to do it one more time, but this is the best method I could come up with. 3. There we go. That should be enough. So, again, all I'm doing right here is flying, so not much to commentate, but one thing I also want to point out is I didn't mention earlier exactly when to turn in, but you'll see with this demonstration very clearly when to angle in with Glydon. About halfway through the painting platform, in order to get to the very top of it, I want to start turning in, that way I can actually get to the coins. Same deal with getting to the end pylon. You can start turning in when you're at the very middle of this painting, past the painting. So right around here, start turning in. And boom, we're on the top. Nice and easy. So that'll about do it for the tutorial. Thanks for watching again. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for tutorials to make, or if I miss anything, I can fill stuff in the comments, but I made one of these tutorials for this trick a little bit earlier and it was a little incomplete, so I made an addendum. Thank you for watching.